Understanding Identity Management Costs for Mid-Market IT Managers. Courtesy of idmchecklist.com from Informatics. What does identity management, or IDM, actually cost the organization? In addition to the tangible costs for software, hardware, and IT salaries, to correctly measure actual identity management costs, one must consider the opportunity cost of lost sales and productivity when there is no integrated IDM strategy. Do you know how to measure what your user provisioning and audit process is actually costing you? Let's look at the costs of hardware, software, and IT personnel, implementation costs, support costs, the costs of low productivity, and fines for non-compliance. Hardware, software, and IT personnel costs. The easiest costs to understand and visualize are those associated with hardware, software licenses, employee salaries, cloud subscription fees, and support contracts. Your accounting software should be able to tally these costs for you quickly. Implementation costs. If your company has purchased or subscribed to an IDM product or service, it's best to bring in a consultant for implementation. Since your staff is busy supporting existing systems and may not have extensive knowledge in setting up an IDM system, an experienced consultant can get the job done right. Support costs. Support costs include not only what you'll pay a vendor to support their application, but also what you'll pay to keep a legacy system up and running. In an organization where user provisioning is largely a manual process with lots of batch files and keyboard input, much time is spent resetting user passwords and processing requests for access. Without automation and centralization, the help desk will be kept busy provisioning users and putting out fires. Lost productivity costs. Many companies have experienced scenarios where their IDM systems have run amok. This is typically followed by the firing of an employee who was in charge of that system. Slow onboarding and provisioning errors cost a company money, especially as employees sit idle waiting for access. Fines for non-compliance. Fines for non-compliance are not common outside of the financial services industry. If an employee has access to systems that allow him to sell bonds or otherwise take on debt, and the IDM system cannot certify that access, the company is violating SOX, the Sarbanes-Oxley Act regulations. Worst case scenario, the auditors may refuse to sign off on financial statements if violations are pervasive and severe. The company is also at risk for a substantial fine. Bottom line. There is more to sizing up what identity management costs an organization than just simply adding up the cost of hardware, software, and personnel. Manual provisioning and non-interconnecting systems drive up costs for the company in terms of support, lost productivity, and possibly fines. The lack of a well-thought identity management strategy will also cost the business in terms of audit non-compliance and increased operating expenses. Do you know what identity management costs your organization? Have you thought about costs beyond hardware, software, and personnel? Please share your thoughts in the section for comments below. And to follow through on the tips introduced in the short article, be sure to download your free copy of the 8-point Identity Management Checklist. You can download a copy of this checklist while it's still available at idmchecklist.com. Thanks so much for stopping by and tuning in today to learn all about understanding identity management costs for mid-market IT managers.